Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of the world. How's my scar doing? It's kind of swollen up here around the eye, but you can see the scar running down here. So this is from, I had a skin cancer removed and a lot of roots to it. It wasn't malignant. And but anyway, I can now say that this is my saber scar from my duel, Dharma duels. You know, it used to be when dueling was popular. If you had a saber scar, particularly if you were German, it was a badge of honor. That meant you fought a duel and you survived. So this is my scar, Dharma duel scar for having survived the Dharma duels of Facebook. I've been on Facebook. Oh shit! I don't remember how long it's been. It's been decades. I don't know. And I've had a lot. And I had a lot of Dharma duels. Now, what is a Dharma duel? Now, first of all, Dharma means Buddhist teaching. Okay, spiritual teaching. The Dharma duel can be if you're a Christian. The Christian experts. You're expert on the Bible, you're a Bible authority, and you're going to duel with other authorities. But that's a Dharma duel, a teaching duel, a spiritual duel. It's not a duel for property, which is the ego duels. It's not a duel for who's boss of the situation. The Dharma duel is a duel of honor, to protect your viewpoint. And so whenever you have a viewpoint that you hold and that you are secure in and that you defend, somebody's going to challenge it. And Facebook is the field of Dharma duels. It's also the field of lesser duels where but mostly it's the whole idea between Facebook is friends. They're all going to talk about your dog and your experience and your family and your friends. There's no dueling there. But then the field of honor came in. See, the field of honor is where where you go. It's like chivalry. It's like the knights of the Middle Ages, where you would have duels with swords, or two knights that come clashing into it. See, to unseat the other. The idea of the Dharma duel is to unseat the other, your opponent. Now, of course, the Dharma duel sharpens your skill. And a lot of time on Facebook, not so much anymore because my friends have changed. But it used to be quite often, and maybe sometimes now, where you would have I would make a post something for conversation or to encourage a duel. You see, I would put a post up there and say, now who wants to duel with me on this? You see, and sure enough, somebody would come in and duel. Well, I think you're wrong. Where'd you hear that crap? Well, you don't understand Buddhism at all, or you got the wrong idea, or who is your source? Well, can you quote what source all of that, yada, 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 you see, and so on. So, got a Dharma duel here. So anyway, sometimes two people will get a Dharma duel on my feed, and they'll be going at each other, and it sucks up the whole feed. And they go, and I say, please get a room, and nothing will unlock them. Nothing will break their fight. You can't. It's like a dog fight or something. You ever tried to break up a dog fight? You ever tried to break up a marriage fight? When two people in a relationship get in a fight, try to break it up. Both of them will turn on you. They want to fight. So the Dharma duel then, so a lot of times I'll get a little Dharma duel going on my feed, and I'll come back the next day and they'll still be going. And finally, it either ends with exhaustion or one of them defriends the other one. I'm going to block you, as if that wins the fight. Anyway, so Dharma duels. So what have I learned by Dharma duels? Well, Facebook has been my Dharma teacher. Dharma teacher, you see. The Dharma teaches. In Zen, inanimate and animate objects teach the Dharma. Everything teaches the Dharma. Your cat teaches your Dharma, the Dharma. A Zen master was asked by a monk, well, how were you awakened? And he said, by watching my cat. By watching my cat. So anything can be a Dharma teacher. Your mistakes can be a Dharma teacher. Your failures can be a Dharma teacher. Your successes can be, but the failures are better teachers than successes. Failures are real Dharma teachers. Successes don't teach anything. Just affirms your strategy. Just affirms your success. It just affirms your being number one. But failure teaches that you're not number one. Failure is the Dharma teacher. Pain, suffering, misery, despair, hopelessness, all teach the Dharma. So how did Facebook teach me the Dharma? Well, I started on Facebook as a I wouldn't say so much of a Buddha expert, but just a spiritual expert. I mean, I had a little awakening back in the 60s, and I knew what was what, and I had two gurus, Guru Yoga, and I studied yoga and spiritual stuff all my life, you see. So I know something, so I want to have some Dharma duels. I want to prove that I'm number one, you see. So a lot of my early Facebook adventures were basically creating fights. I would drop in somebody else's feed, and they would say something, and I would say, well, that's not true. And then they would say, what? Who are you? and then we would go, and I would start a little Dharma duel on their field, and they would get really pissed, you see. Or somebody else would be a group administrator, and I would come in and challenge them. And they would get really angry because they're the administrator. This is my field. This is my space. This is my territory. Who are you to challenge me? And we'd get the swords going. But anyway, so I did that. I'm a confessed Dharma dueler. But what's the Dharma here, you see? The Dharma duel has a purpose to learn the Dharma. But we think the Dharma duel is for me to be the authority of the Dharma. Well, that's the lower level. So when you get a scar from the saber of the Dharma duel, and you're still alive, there's some wisdom in that. There's some wisdom in that. So what did I learn by the Dharma duels? Is that the Dharma duel has a purpose to sharpen your understanding, but not to defeat the other, but to affirm the other. In other words, when you're in a Dharma duel, there's two ways of approaching it, two viewpoints. One of them is to kill the other guy, defeat him, unseat him, knock his sword out of his hand, kick him off the field. That's the one goal. But the other goal is to increase your understanding through conflict or competition. In other words, the goal is to increase understanding, not to win, but to increase understanding by seeing the other person's point of view, by using the other person's truth to expand your truth. So when there's a Dharma duel, it's two truths, but both are partial. You see, each one thinks I'm the absolute truth. No, I'm the absolute truth. And that's when the swords get going, but both are relative. So the absolute truth is always upstream, is always beyond, is always a bigger boat. It's always over the horizon. But the absolute, although you can never realize it because everything you realize is relative, but the absolute is there, but it just calls you. So it calls the two dueling experts, you see, to go beyond their opinions, beyond their viewpoint, beyond their positions, you see, and arrive at a larger understanding, a bigger boat, a greater understanding. This is what Jesus was talking about. I said, love your enemies. What does that mean, you see? So when you're in a duel, how do you love your enemy? Well, you recognize that they too have the truth. That truth is dueling the truth in order to find out the one. But you never arrive at the one because that's just going to be another position. So the truth always pulls you, draws you, calls you beyond yourself. So the true use of the Dharma duel is through conflict, to arrive at a larger understanding of life itself, you see. So the Dharma duel, or competition, drives understanding and expansion and transcendence. And this is the way of life. Life is conflict that drives you to greater life, to greater understanding, to greater Dharma, to transcendence. So conflict, when properly used, is the fuel to transcendence. Is the fuel to transcendence, where both duelers arrive at unity and they hug and say, oh, you're great, I love you, man. This is when the two fighters fight to the death, but at the end they hug each other. So politics used to be like that in America. You had the left and the right dueling for the one policy that would govern all, but at the end of the day, they'd all go have a drink together. Good friends. But on the floor, on the field, they were dueling, you see. So this view of the Dharma duel, rather than a fight to the death, you see, but is a fight to win greater understanding. It's the same Dharma duel, but different goals. One of them is to kill the other guy. So you're the one left standing. The other one, same duel, is to arrive at a one that includes both of the duelers at a greater understanding, a greater unity. This was the dialectic of Hegel. First you have a thesis, an idea, and then you have an opposite idea, an antithesis. And now they're going to conflict. And that conflict will spawn a synthesis, a greater idea. And so it goes, the greater idea breaks into two, conflict, spawn, greater idea, boom, boom, boom. Evolution of truth, evolution of the whole. Versus, I'm going to kill this other guy, so I'm going to be the one standing. So I invite you to have a Dharma duel with me on Facebook. A lot of my posts I put out there, I invite people to have a Dharma duel, but not so I can kill you, but so I can increase my own understanding, so I can grow, so I can evolve. So anyway, Facebook teaches the Dharma if you know how to duel. Thanks for dropping in.